Hey everybody, Daniel here. That little tricky unison is from a track called Echidna's for You, which was released on the Roxy and Elsewhere album in 1974 by one Frank Zappa and the Mothers, in case you hadn't already figured that out. So, what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about what the notes are and how they're grouped. There's a certain grouping to these that I thought was kind of interesting and valuable from an educational standpoint, and it makes a great picking exercise as well with the odd groupings. So let's get into the notes. So for those of you who are already familiar with the music of Frank Zappa, you're probably aware that he has quite a thing for odd note groupings. In the case of this song, we're talking about groupings of fives, and we're going to call them quintuplets. So a tuplet is basically squeezing a group of notes into the space of one beat. That is most commonly triplets. In this case, we're talking about quintuplets. Some of his stuff even has tuplets within tuplets and all sorts of crazy 11th tuplets nonsense, but we're not going to worry about that for today. Quintuplets is a good place to start. Okay, so all of the phrases that we're going to be focusing on are going to be in those 5-note groupings, which means that as we do our alternate picking technique, we're going to find that our pattern reverses for every repetition of the riff. So let's show you what that riff is first of all. So we're starting off with our index finger on the 7th fret of the A string. We're going to the 7th fret of the E string by rolling our index finger up, and then back down to the A string. So we have like that with a downstroke, starting with the downstroke, all alternate. From there we're going on to the 9th fret and then the 10th fret. So we're using our ring finger and pinky there. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So when I'm playing quintuplets, or trying to explain how to feel quintuplets, I like to, rather than trying to count to 5 every time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's a little bit laborious. So instead, let's use the word hippopotamus. Hippopotamus, 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 hippopotamus. Okay, so if hippopotamus helps you to feel quintuplets, then you're very welcome. Otherwise, feel free to employ your own 5-syllable word in its place. Okay, so that's our pattern. Now when we go to the next 2 strings, we're going to the D and A strings, and we're also moving up a fret to the 8th fret. Now, of course, the difference is going to be this time that we'll be starting on an upstroke, but otherwise the left hand is going to be doing exactly the same pattern. So we're rocking that finger from the D to the A string and back, and then walking up with our ring and pinky. Okay. Now we go to the next 2 strings. We've got G and D strings, and we're back to the original picking pattern, starting with the downstroke. Same fingers. Now to the B and G. Same as before with the upstroke, this time on the 8th fret. Now to the E and B strings, same as the very first pattern, 7th fret, downstroke to start. Now it changes a little bit. We're going to shift that up 1 fret on the same 2 strings. Now we're on an upstroke on the 8th fret, B and E strings. Now we're going to move to the B and G strings. We're at the 9th fret now, and we're starting with the downstroke. And then we move up 1 more fret, same 2 strings, 10th fret, starting with an upstroke, like so. Okay, so those all those patterns together go like this. So that's a lot of hippopotamuses, or hippopotami, or whatever the plural is for that. Okay, so it's worth practicing that really nice and slow, and trying to make sure that there's not any bleed between those notes when you're rocking on the same fret there. So making sure that you're rocking sort of back onto your knuckle here, this first knuckle on your finger, to the fingertip when you go to that note, and then back to the knuckle. You don't want a chord, you want individual notes. Okay, cool. So that leaves the second part of the riff, which is like a scale run starting from the 12th fret. Now I'll just quickly show you the notes because this will be nice and quick and easy. We've got 12th on the E, 10th and 8th, same on the B string, go to the G, 10th, 9th and 7th, same on the D string, A string, 10th and 8th and 7th, and same on the E string, but we actually walk back up those two notes to finish on the 10th fret. So that E string part is 10, 8, 7, 8, 10. So all together. And then you'll be back to your hippopotamus riff, okay? Now here's the thing though, we can't just let that go by as what it seems to be like almost a triplet feel. Because that is not what Frank intended. He wanted more hippopotamus here, so we're going to do this in groups of 5. Now listen to how I accent the notes here. Slightly exaggerated, but you could hear where those groups of 5 were. Hippopotamus, 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 hippopotamus. Okay. Now that's actually harder than it seems at first to sort of imply that odd grouping, because you just want to play triplets, but we've got to keep it quintuplets, okay? And that's where the educational value lies in this. And of course the accents are going to be falling on different strokes. So it starts on a down stroke, up stroke, down, up. Okay, so we'll just quickly do all of that all the way through. Hopefully I don't make a mistake. Here we go. And that's how you play the unison from Echidna's Half of You. Thanks ever so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that video lesson. I'm going to be posting lessons every week on a variety of topics for different skill levels with a different focus for each one. So if you have any suggestions for videos that you'd like me to do, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I've got PDFs and things for these songs, so if you want to get the tabs for particularly for the second half of that unison that I didn't cover in today's lesson, my email's in the description below, so please feel free to contact me there. That's also the place to contact me if you're interested in online lessons through Zoom as well. So I'd love to hear from you if you want to chat about that. In the meantime, I'll see you at the next lesson.